4, 3, 1. 4, 3, 2. 5, 3, 2. Side out, 3, 5, 1. What do these numbers represent? Any guesses? Hey, who said it? There we go, Yashaga. Pickleball. Any pickleball players here? A handful. I played pickleball once, and a bunch over here too. All right, Yofi. So my doubles partner told me, better stick to swimming. Now I know that some people focused this past week on a rare World Series no-hitter, but I want to take a moment to pick on pickleball. For those who love the sport, its growth is welcome and long overdue. Pickleball, they say, is a unifying force, bringing together people of all backgrounds, political persuasions, and socioeconomic status. Here in Minnesota, for example, pickleball has fostered harmony among Somali immigrants and their neighbors. For this reason, enthusiasts are pinning their hopes on pickleball to save America. At least that's the vision of Steve Kuhn, who recently unveiled a pickleball mecca in Texas called Dreamland, and who established the MLP, the Major League Pickleball. No joke. Pickleball will save America, he told The New Yorker last July. A lot of people think that we're going to have a civil war if this election is close. We've got to get people out there playing pickleball with one who will vote the other way so they don't want to kill each other, he said. It sounds ridiculous and dramatic, but I kind of mean it. Pickleball can save us, and we need to be saved. So I'll just add that if we are relying on pickleball to save us, all I can say is, Lord, help us. As you can surely imagine, for others, pickleball only leaves a sour taste in their mouth. All right, I had to do it. Like Charlie Dulick, who recently published a manifesto against pickleball, calling for tennis players to, quote, oppose the gangrenous spread of pickleball at every turn. In some cases, the fight between the two sides is making its way to the court, and I don't mean the pickleball or tennis court. In Exeter, New Hampshire, for example, pickleball players petitioned the court to convert 3 of the town's 8 tennis courts to pickleball courts, leading to what one resident is calling the great pickleball versus tennis war of 2022. Forget saving our nation, pickleball can't even save itself. Although I don't think he ever played, I have a feeling that Abraham could identify with the division and divisiveness going on here. And by exploring his story, I suggest that we might gain some insight into the division and divisiveness in our own nation. 002, my serve. We read in our Parsha what I consider to be one of the sadder passages in the Torah. It's a story that we know well. It's a story that we are living. Abraham and Lot are family. Abraham was Lot's uncle. And yet they couldn't live together. And so they decided to part and go their separate ways. The Torah tells us some went to the right and others went to the left. So here's the background. Abraham and Lot and their families, they had fled Canaan because of a drought. The famine forced them to find greener pastures. They made their way down to Egypt, and there they dwelled, and eventually they returned to Israel. Those years were good years for Abraham and Lot. They did very well for themselves. Abraham, the Torah tells us, had much cattle, silver, and gold. And Lot had acquired flocks and herds and tents. They settled not far from a place called Bethel. And we read, the land could not support them together, for their possessions were very great. It's not hard for us to picture this scene and to understand the implications. Still recovering from a drought, the land could not support 2 families with themselves growing so much. So Abraham and Lot, they started arguing with each other. Why were they arguing? On the surface, it seems like they were fighting over scarce resources. But there's more to it than that. You see, after saying that the land could not support them, the Torah continues, Lo yachlu l'shevet yachad. They could not dwell together. This was no shevet achim gam yachad. Just the opposite. Listen to the language. Lo yachlu shevet yachad. They could not dwell together. So why were they fighting? Traditional commentators focus less on the issue of living sustainably on the land, but rather describe this dispute as one over ethics, over values, over legacy. Some of the rabbis see the dispute between Abraham and Lot in terms of ethics. Abraham, they said, muzzled his flocks when passing through Lot's pastures, whereas Lot let his flocks roam free on Abraham's land, meaning that he was stealing from Abraham. Other rabbis believe that the dispute between Abraham and Lot was really about values. You see, Lot was very materialistic. He was driven by the desire to acquire more wealth, while Abraham was focused more on the spiritual. The differences become apparent when they go their separate ways, and Lot chooses to dwell in the prosperous yet sinful city of Sodom. Some commentaries see the dispute wrapped up in a struggle over leadership and legacy. It's true that Lot was grazing on Abraham's land, but what's the problem with that, he argued. After all, Abraham was childless, making him the rightful heir. So the dispute was about who would shepherd this new nation. Or maybe it was about an economic dispute. Remember, Abraham had a lot of gold and silver, what we'd call a money manager, whereas Lot had many tents. He was investing in real estate. Perhaps they had a deal that went bad. Whatever it was, they started fighting, Abraham and his herdsmen and Lot and his herdsmen. And it got to the point in which Abraham said, this can't go on. We can't live together. We need to separate. And so, in language that was clear and firm and polite, Abraham said, if you go to the right, I'll go to the left. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. We can appreciate Abraham's decision to separate. Sometimes disputes, whether about ethics or values or leadership or economics, they're just irreconcilable. And it's in everyone's best interest to go their separate ways. Sometimes because of population growth and because of the effects of a changing climate, the land literally cannot support everyone, and so inhabitants are forced to move. I don't blame Abraham. I understand his desire to disengage. It's not worth the fight. I picture Abraham and Lot exhausted. They're at their wits' end. They've engaged in conversations, they've engaged in discussions, they've tried different solutions, but they found no room to compromise. And so Abraham said, if pickleball is so popular, why don't they build their own courts? Oh wait, that was actually Martina Navratilova. Abraham said, pick where you want to go and I'll move the opposite direction. At least they separated peacefully. The verse indicates that the decision was mutual. And there's comfort in that. Still, it saddens me that Abraham and Lot could not find a way to get along. They couldn't carve out any middle ground. Although the Torah later warns us not to veer too far to the right or too far to the left, for Abraham and Lot, it was you go right and you go left. We all know people who go through divorce and families that split apart. In those cases, separation is helpful, even necessary. We reluctantly agree with 19th century German Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, who commented on our passage, where there is no union, separation brings peace. In the case of our nation, the situation is not only sad, it's scary. We've separated ourselves, we've separated from one another between red and blue, between rural and urban, and yet many fear that division accelerated by lies and conspiracy theories, will deepen and perhaps even turn violent. How can we stem the tide? Abraham offers a small glimmer of hope and a challenge to each of us. After suggesting physical separation, he continues, "Let there be no strife between you and me. Let there be no fight between your people and my people. Ki anashim achim anachnu." Because we are family. For Abraham, those were not just words. This is more than just tap paddles at the end of the game and say, "Good match." Later in the Parsha, when Lot is taken captive by the king of Amraphel, none other than Abraham came to his rescue. Abraham was literally his brother's keeper. And so while there are family feuds, when it comes down to it, family defends family. Family helps family. Family cares for family. It's a message that you and I must hold on to in these coming days, months, and years. While I don't expect for any fistfights to break out over Kiddush, except maybe for the last poppy seed bagel, we have people with different values and different visions. We'll separate with some going right and some going left. And while we may disagree over policies and platforms, like Abraham, I pray, let there be no strife between us. Let us not resort to vilification or, God forbid, violence. Ki anashim achim anachnu. For we are family. Anashim. First, Abraham says we're people, each made in God's image. We're called upon to see a spark of the divine in one another and to relate to one another as people and not just as party. Achim, we're family. We aspire to crown thy good with brotherhood. And so if we disagree, let's do so as relatives, civilly. God forbid, at civil war. Anashim, achim, and finally, anachnu. Anachnu means we. We are a we, as in we the people. The implication is that it takes both sides. It's not just, I expect you to act towards me as a mensch, as family. It's that I expect the same of myself. We're in this together by necessity because we don't have the luxury of separating any further. And we're in this together by desire because we still aspire to be one nation under God, indivisible. Abraham and Lot couldn't dwell together, and they felt that they had no choice but to go their separate ways. Indeed, our rabbis taught, when people cannot get along, even the most spacious land is too small. But the converse is also true. When people get along, even a small land will suffice. I pray that it's true for us, because the alternative is strife. Shabbat shalom. Thank you. Turn back in our Siddurim to page 155.